Today I'm going to take a look at a recently released version of RefreshOS. What is RefreshOS? Well, it is a Debian-based Linux distribution. It's based on Debian stable, and right now it's based on Debian 13. And it comes with a very nice, polished KDE Plasma desktop environment. I took a look at RefreshOS about a year ago. That was the very first time I ever took a look at it, and it was pretty cool, right? I liked it, but you could tell it was a new distribution. It was early days, and taking a look at this new release based on Debian 13, looking at some of the screenshots, I can tell that this distribution has come a long way. So I wanted to revisit it today. So let me switch over to my web browser here. So according to the distrowatch.com website, you can see that this is based on Debian stable. It features the KDE Plasma desktop. It ships with the Brave web browser, the LibreOffice Office Suite, GIMP, various popular applications, and it maintains a clean environment that is free of snaps and flatpaks, so it doesn't ship snaps or flatpaks out of the box. I'm sure you could enable them if you really wanted them. And if I go to their website, refresh.org, you can see RefreshOS 3 is now available, and that's what I downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and run through a quick installation and first look inside a VM. So I've downloaded the ISO, created a virtual machine, booted up the ISO, and of course the live environment is the KDE Plasma desktop. And man, this looks really good. I'm not going to play around in the live environment. I'm going to install it first. This is the welcome application. I will close that out. But yeah, it's a slick looking desktop, KDE Plasma desktop here. Let me go ahead and click this icon here, install RefreshOS. And I'm assuming that's going to get us our Calamares installer. Great. Yeah, because it's Debian based, I wasn't sure what kind of installation program they would be using. Makes sense. Go with Calamares, the tried and true, right? So let's go ahead and run through a quick installation. So American English, this is the language for the installation program itself. American English is set here, and that's what I need. So I'll click next. Choose your time zone. It has correctly chosen the central time zone in the US for me. Probably is using some kind of geolocation to get that information, but that's correct. So let me click next. And then choose your keyboard. English US is my keyboard. So let me click next, and then finally partition. So here you have two options: erase the disk, so give the entire drive over to RefreshOS, or manual partitioning, and that's if you're dual booting. Sometimes you want to go in and do some manual partitioning yourself. For me, for this virtual machine, I'm going to give the entire virtual hard drive in this virtual machine over to RefreshOS. So I'm going to click the first option, erase disk, and it's going to create an extend4 file system by default with no swap. I'm going to tell it create a swap file. So swap to file, extend4. Btrfs is also an option here in the installer, but I'll go with the tried and true method, extend4, especially since it was the default. Typically I like sticking with defaults for things on these videos. And then let me click next. Let me go ahead and create my username and password. My username will be DT. Let's create the host name of this computer. I will call this RefreshOS/VM. That way, if I ever SSH into this machine, it's obvious what I'm SSHing into. It's the RefreshOS virtual machine. Now let me create a strong and complicated password for the DT user, and then repeat the strong and complicated password. And then, do I want to log in automatically without asking for a password? No, I always want to have to enter a password to get into a computer because privacy, right? So, and then use the same password for the administrator account. I'll tick that on. That way, my user's password and the sudo password are the same password. And then click next. And then we get a summary, location, keyboard, partition scheme. All of this looks good. Let me go ahead and click install. And away we go. Typically, this portion of the installation takes about 5 to 10 minutes on my equipment, so I'll step away, grab me a cup of coffee, and I'll be back once RefreshOS has finished installing. And the installation completed just fine. I've already rebooted the machine, and look at this fancy grub menu. I really like this. I mean, it's not necessarily a fancy grub menu, but it's got a nice background. Kind of fits with the RefreshOS theme. Let's go ahead and boot into our newly installed RefreshOS. Now, this is interesting. I'm getting some weird characters here, question mark looking characters. I'm assuming that was supposed to be some kind of splash screen. But we get to our login manager, so let me type my super secure password and log in. And here we are in our newly installed RefreshOS. We've got the welcome screen. I could go through this if I wanted. This particular welcome screen is this is Plasma related, not necessarily RefreshOS related. So tell me a little bit, I guess, about KDE Plasma. Yeah, I mean, this is, if you're unfamiliar with the latest like KDE Plasma 6 versions of the desktop, you certainly could go through this if you wanted. For me, I'm going to go ahead and close out this program, and let's go ahead and get into the menu system and see what is installed out of the box here. So let me go ahead and click on the menu system here, and it's just your standard Plasma menu system. Let's see, do we have categories of applications? No, this is bookmarks for your file manager, so this is folders to open, but I guess we can't sort by category. We have all apps. I could click that, because by default the start menu is like the latest apps you've used, but this is a brand new installation. I haven't used anything yet, so I guess this is what they have set the default apps to be out of the box until I start using some of the apps, but I guess I could go through all apps. When I click on all apps, I do get the categories. Okay, here we go. Well, let's start with games. So games, we have a bunch of stuff here. Capman. Wow, is that Pac-Man? Yeah, I wasn't unaware of this program. This is not one I've seen before. I don't know if this is a standard with a lot of KDE distributions, but I do like the old Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man, so maybe that's one I actually go back and install on some of my main equipment. I do like, some of those old arcade-style retro games. You also have your standard, like K-Blocks, K-Mines. Basically, it's a Minesweeper game, K-Patient, so that's your solitaire card games as well. Moko Maze, I don't know that one. Neverball, I do know. That's a 3D ball arcade game. This is a really fun game too as well. If you're not familiar with this one, well, I'll start playing. It really doesn't matter. I'm not actually going to play, but you've got these platforms. You've got a ball that rotates, and yeah, it can be tough. And since I haven't played it in years, I am not going to play it on camera because I'm sure I'm going to be terrible at it. And then back into the menu system and click all apps to get to the categories. Really, I wish this page was the default. I wonder if I could set this as the default, the all apps page where I have the categories. I really don't like this. If I right click, is there any options? Is there any kind of settings here? I'm not sure how I could change that, because I do find it kind of annoying not to have this as the first page. I mean, you can always search for specific apps. Obviously, if this was a installation I installed and I knew exactly what was here, but for discovery, the very first time of using something, I prefer to have the category menus up front. But let's get into the graphics category. We have GIMP, GNU Image Manipulation Program, the GIMP. This is one of my favorite pieces of free and open source software. I use it practically every day. Every thumbnail I've ever made for any of my YouTube channels, YouTube header art, pretty much anything graphic related that I have to create or modify in any way, I use GIMP for. It's one of the best pieces of free and open source software on the planet. It's basically our free and open source alternative to something like an Adobe Photoshop. Right now, they're on GIMP version 3.0.4. Again, this is based on Debian stable, Debian 13. Back into the menu system, let me click on all apps, go back to graphics. We have color paint, color with a K, contrast with a K, a lot of the traditional KDE apps. Color paint is a paint program. Contrast is a contrast checker. LibreAlpha Straw is here. Ocular is our PDF viewer. And PhotoQt is view and manage images. I don't know if I've seen this one, PhotoQt. I don't have any images, obviously, in this virtual machine, but I'm sure it's your standard kind of image manager, maybe a basic photo manager program. And then back into the menu system, let's move over to the internet category. Under internet, we have aggregator with a K, aggregator. That's a KDE newsfeed reader, a really nice newsfeed reader for those that still get their news via RSS feeds. Really cool program. We also, under internet, had our default browser, which is the Brave browser. which I think is a smart choice. These days, I mean, I know a lot of distributions still default to Mozilla Firefox, but Mozilla Firefox has probably less than a 2% market share as far as desktop web browser usage. You know, like it's dead, right? Let's move on to something more modern that's actually on an ascending path and not a descending path. And I think Brave is kind of, taken over as kind of the default free and open source browser for most of us these days. It's the one I've been on for the last 4 to 5 years, and it's a fantastic web browser. It has great built-in ad block, so no need for extensions or anything. And it's Chrome-based. All your Chrome-based extensions work as well. Really cool browser. Also in the menu system under Internet, what else did we have? KDE Connect, of course, to sync your phone and your computer. So KDE Connect SMS and also Thunderbird for a email client. So they did include Mozilla Thunderbird for an email client. That's interesting. Most people really probably don't have a need for desktop email. I actually do. I still use desktop email, and I do use Thunderbird. There's several other email clients on Linux, free and open source email clients. I would say none of them are good. I mean, Thunderbird might be the best of the bunch, but it's, email clients in general are kind of clunky. Some other nice ones, if you want to try them out. Geary is not bad for an email client. We've got a lot of them. Claws Mail for something a little more lightweight, but also very old looking. Moving on to the multimedia category, we have Elisa, which is our music player. So this is one of the standard kind of KDE apps, Elisa. It's not one I've ever used much in the past. I never really lived in KDE, certainly none of the modern versions of KDE Plasma, because I typically am a tiling window manager user, and I create basically my own suite of applications, my own desktop environment, if you will. And I've never actually used Elisa, even though it's a very popular program. K3B, though, the disk writing program, is one I have used a lot in the past, and I still burn disks. I still have the need sometimes to burn CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays. K3B is one of the best programs for that, one of the best free and open source programs for that as well. Fantastic program. Also under multimedia, we had Komoso, which is your webcam program, Kdenlive, which is your video editor. That's interesting. Kdenlive is definitely the best free and open source video editor. It's not even close. It is interesting, though, that they actually include this, because not a lot of people are going to need a video editor. I mean, outside of people that do content creation like I do, I mean, I would need it, but 98% of the people that install this distribution are going to have no need for Kdenlive. So I don't know. This is one of those distributions that has a ton of software installed, which is a good thing, for some people. For some people, they like having a whole kitchen sink suite of software, everything you can imagine already installed. Some people like a more minimal approach where hardly anything's installed and you got to go get everything you want. I think both approaches are valid, and I think clearly this one is, hey, we're going to try to give you everything that we think you could possibly want. Also, we have the K-Wave sound editor installed, as well as VLC, which is a media player, mainly a video player, but obviously we had Elisa for our audio player. VLC would be your video player, although to be fair, VLC also plays audio, so if you wanted to uninstall Elisa and just use VLC for everything, it's certainly capable for both audio and video. And let's check what version of VLC they're on. This is version 3.0.23. Let's close that out. And let's quickly just cover some of what else is in the menu system. Under multimedia, we covered everything. Office, we have the entire LibreOffice suite, plus calendar, contacts, and Ocular. Science and Math, LibreOffice Math, and then System. So this is going to be mainly your KDE related applications, some of your system tools as well. Your terminal program, which it looks like they're using LX Terminal. That's interesting because KDE, I would assume they would be using a console with a K, but they're not. Time Shift is here for those that want to do time shift backups. Is console not here? Console, I guess, is not here. So the terminal is, in fact, the LX terminal. Let's go ahead and launch it. Not a terrible choice. I mean, a terminal is a terminal. It is just strange that they went with this versus console with a K, because you're already installing all the KDE stuff anyway, all the KDE libraries and things, like all the dependencies for console is there, and console's a pretty nice terminal emulator if you're already running KDE, so it's a strange choice. Now down here on the panel, we have our quick launchers for the Brave browser, for our file manager, which of course this is going to be the Nemo file manager, because why not, right? This is strange too. Yeah. So so much KDE, like so many KDE applications, and then we have the LX terminal rather than console, and we have Nemo rather than Dolphin, because the Dolphin file manager is a really fantastic file manager. If you're already running KDE, you would never install console, and certainly not Dolphin if you're not a KDE user, because they pull in a lot of KDE dependencies. But if you already got all that stuff installed, why wouldn't you go with those? But again, that's their choice. Nemo is a fantastic file manager. It's basically, is it a fork of the old GNOME Nautilus file manager before GNOME kind of gimped Nautilus and made it not that great? But Nemo's fine. Nemo's a fantastic file manager. We also have a quick launcher down here for our Discover Software Center. So they are using KDE's Discover Software Center for the GUI package manager, if you will. And I'm assuming because it's a static release distro, this ISO was released a week or two ago. It may have updates. So if I click on updates, there are some system updates available, it looks like. I could go ahead and update the system if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but if I want to get back to the home, yeah, you can see popular programs, editor's choices. You know, I can install random things like Super TuxKart, Emacs, which of course I would install right away if this was my installation. You've got categories to go search for software, just to browse collections of software. If you know exactly what you want, of course you could search for something. I wonder, since they're not using snaps and flatpaks, some of the proprietary software is probably going to be tough to get out of the box. For example, if I search for Discord, would it be available? It is. Well, no, that's KDE Plasma Global Theme. So this is like a Discord theme. It's not the Discord application. What about something like a Zoom? Yeah, a lot of that stuff. Now, if you turn on snaps and or Flatpaks, you can go get that stuff from those stores. But the traditional like Debian repos are not very friendly to non-free software. So the proprietary stuff, you may have to go turn on Flatpaks to get some of that stuff. Let me go ahead and close out the Software Center. I wonder if they have the Control-Alt-T binding for launching the terminal. They do. So let me launch that and zoom in on the terminal. I just want to check a few things. So if I do a uname-r, what is our kernel version? We're on 6.12.90. If I do a apt list -- installed, it's going to give me a list of all packages installed via the apt package manager, the default package manager on Debian. If I actually up arrowed that and pipe that into wc-l for a line count, it'll tell me the number of lines in that output. So it'll basically run this command and then give me the lines, the number of lines of the output from that command. It's 2,623. That means there's 2,623 packages installed on RefreshOS. Now, because it's running KDE Plasma, I'm assuming we're on Wayland here, but let's verify with the echo, and then I'm going to echo xdg_session_type, and this will return Wayland if we're on Wayland, and it's would return X11 if we're on X11. But yeah, Plasma has been defaulting to Wayland for a while now, so we're definitely on Wayland. And by now, pretty much everybody is using Pipewire. But if I did a where is Pipewire, yeah, there is the binary for Pipewire. So that's installed for our audio server. So let me go ahead and exit out of the terminal. One thing I will say that overall, the icons, the theming with the Plasma desktop, the wallpaper choices, this abstract art they're using, this looks really good. Let me actually check out other wallpapers though, in case there's some other cool wallpapers. Let me go ahead and right click on the desktop. I'm going to click on desktop and wallpaper, and let's see what kind of wallpapers. So there is RefreshOS 3 light. So I guess that was the dark wallpaper. Here's the light. So in case you toggle on and off dark mode or light mode, you've got two versions of that default wallpaper. You've got RoboBees. So is that really a bee? That's interesting. It calls it a bee. That's clearly a wasp. That's not a bee. You know, I'm a stickler sometimes for details, and yeah, that's clearly that's not, looks more like a hornet or a wasp to me and not a bee. You got pencils and windmills. You got some cool stuff here, right? You got a nice wallpaper pack to choose from here. And if I remember correctly, when I looked at this a year ago, the initial release, I remember, yeah, it had a bunch of really cool wallpapers. Some of these are so nice. Like, I wouldn't mind ripping some of these off. Like this one here, I like more minimal, you know, less busy wallpapers. And this one here with the table with a couple of leaves on it. I like that wallpaper. I should add it to my wallpaper pack. Now, Snow Mountain, this could be good, especially if you're using a dark theme. You know, having a lighter wallpaper for contrast sometimes is nice. Now, I like wallpapers with railroad tracks. That's one of my go-to kind of wallpapers anyway. Yeah, very cool stuff for me, though, right now. I think I'm going to go back to the default wallpaper if I can find it. So many wallpapers here to choose from. There it is. RefreshOS Dark. And let's go ahead and apply that. So there you have it, a quick and cursory look at RefreshOS. RefreshOS, really cool Debian-based distribution with a customized and very polished looking KDE Plasma desktop. Now, before I go, I need to thank a few special people. I need to thank the producers of this episode: Matt, Steve, George, Darlof, Lee, Mark, Methos, Urian, Peace Arch and Fedora, Realities for Less, Roland, War, Gentoo, and Ubuntu, and Willie. These guys, they're my highest tiered patrons over on Patreon. Without these guys, this quick look at RefreshOS wouldn't have been possible. The show is also brought to you by each and every one of these fine ladies and gentlemen. All these names you're seeing on the screen right now, these are all my supporters over on Patreon because I don't have any corporate sponsors. I'm sponsored by you guys, the community. And if you like my work and want to see more videos about Linux and free and open source software like RefreshOS, subscribe to DistroTube over on Patreon. Peace, guys.